Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome back to the Breaking Bread Village. We kind of just sit down, break bread, and have the conversation. I'm invited a guest today by the name of William. He actually was at a protest that I went to the other day to kind of, interview some people and talk to them about why they were at the protest and so on and so on. So he actually was sort of the leader of the protest. So I did a little research and, just kind of want to bring him on to talk about, some next steps, what prompted him into kind of getting started. So let me bring him on. Hello, greetings.
Hi there.
Hey, William. So I was just telling, the viewers that, I kind of was watching some things as I do and did some research and wanted to kind of bring you on for you to talk about, kind of what prompted you to get into this movement. I mean, basically. So first, if you want to just kind of introduce yourself and kind of where you're from, if you want to do that, that's totally up to you.
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. My name is William Heisted. I am a resident of Saginaw, Michigan. I grew up a large part of my childhood there, but I also grew up in Dallas, Texas, and Vancouver, Canada. I am a guitar player in a couple of different bands, and I guess you can now call me an activist as well.
Okay, yeah, because I asked you, I said, okay, what's kind of your title? And you told me that just a week ago you were a guitarist. So tell me a little bit about that. Tell me about your time as a guitarist and how you kind of got, transition into being an activist now.
Well, I guess I should preface this with I've been Black my entire life.
Sure.
I was raised by a Black woman, beautiful Black queen. Her name was Kathleen.
Shout out.
I have two daughters as well. I dropped out of high school my senior year to go play guitar professionally.
Oh wow.
It was I won't exactly call it the smartest thing I've ever done, but it wasn't also the dumbest either.
Right.
From there, I toured a bunch with this one band, Redburn. They're a hip hop rock band, and then about 3 years ago, I broke out of Redburn, and I then started my own band, We the Infamous, which I'm the frontman, lead guitarist, and lead vocalist for.
Okay.
We're currently signed to a small little independent label. Nothing major. You can find our stuff on every platform you listen to. And like I said, I dropped out of high school, so I kind of had a plan, but not really a plan.
Sure.
And it was just to go play guitar in front of as many people as I possibly could.
Right.
My mom is an actress, so and I was a child actor as well, so I didn't really have a problem being in the spotlight. That's kind of always been my thing.
Okay.
And in the realm of activism, it definitely helps. A lot of people want to get out there and speak out, but they're terrified. So,
right.
One of the gifts that I have is I know how to command a crowd, and I'm not afraid of it.
Sure.
So use some college level education and some of my own talents and apply pressure, if you will.
Sure.
These days, I am dual enrolled in Harvard University School of Business and Berklee College of Music. Both are in Boston.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Right now, I'm studying guitar performance there with the great Tomo Fujita. He's John Mayer's professor.
Oh, okay, cool.
Right, like that's upper echelon of music these days.
Sure.
And like I said, I'm studying business at Harvard, and it's really funny how I got into activism. My junior year of high school, I had a government teacher. His name was John Grablin.
Okay.
One of my favorite human beings on the planet. It was 2008 was my junior year, and he gave us an assignment. He said you can either write a 20-page paper outlining and underlining the Constitution, or you can go spend 20 hours volunteering for a campaign of your choice.
Oh, okay.
And of course, 2008, we know what happened in 2008.
Right.
I immediately said, screw writing a 20-page paper. I'm going to go volunteer for Barack Obama's campaign.
Sure.
and that was my first foray into activism. And from
Okay.
there, I joined the Saginaw County Democratic Association. I've been an active member in that for years. And the last couple of years, I'd been kind of dormant. I was kind of focused on my own career for a moment.
Sure.
George Floyd happened.
Yeah.
And we watched an extrajudicial murder on Facebook Live, and I couldn't ignore that.
Sure.
I couldn't just close Facebook and move on with my day.
Sure. Not to mention a couple months prior to that, we've had other deaths as
Ahmaud
well.
Arbery and
So
Taylor,
I think
absolutely.
Right. So go on. Sorry for interrupting. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. This is your show.
Oh, no. I want you to tell your story.
So I, like 37 million other people who have now watched this video. I watched it with a brick in my stomach.
Yeah.
And a new name boiling in the back of my brain. And being Black, and luckily, I'm what you call a light bright.
Yeah.
So I have a small amount of white privilege myself, and I've been able to pass in certain circles. But for a long time, I've been apologetically Black. I've been afraid to embrace the beautiful parts of me. I was afraid.
So tell me why. What was it, because of the I guess the stigma around being Black, or
exactly is the stigma. I grew up in a disenfranchised neighborhood. Like, I didn't want my white friends to come over and meet my mom because we lived in the hood. You know what I mean? It was that, and it was years of that.
Right. So you were a little embarrassed.
I was beyond embarrassed. I was mad at myself at this point.
Yeah.
And George Floyd happened, and it put a full stop on reality.
Mm-hmm.
Reality set in about a day later for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized, something needs to be done.
Right.
Do I have any fathomable idea as to what to do?
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Right.
But I do know a couple things. I'm loud, I'm charismatic, and I'm not afraid of a crowd. And then Brandon Schwartz, he organized the first Black Lives Matter rally in Bay City, Michigan. Shout out to him, Brandon. You're awesome, dude. And I messaged him. I said, I prepared some words. Do you mind if I come speak? And then this thing just exploded.
Yeah. I've done some reading about it. Yeah.
It absolutely exploded. And in a good way.
Yeah.
He broadcasted a couple of excerpts from my speech on his TikTok, and now they've reached like 11 million views.
Oh wow.
And yeah, it's blown up way bigger than I ever thought. I went to go speak to a small crowd in a small town,
right,
of my peers and in my community.
Right.
My recording studio is in Bay City, so I work in Bay City. I consider myself a member of the Bay City community, even though I don't live there.
Sure.
And it started off small, and then just ripple effect. The next day, there was 5 other protests. I went and spoke at another one. The next day, we took it to the college campus in Mount Pleasant, and I spoke and led a protest there. And then I went down to Detroit and delivered some medical supplies with a friend of mine, and that's a whole other story.
Okay.
Michiganders, Detroit has itself. Don't go down there and protest. Detroit has Detroit. Listen to me. And so we did another one in Bay City yesterday. And so wait a minute.
So what happened in Detroit? You got to kind of tell me. We can't skip over that. You got to tell me what happened in Detroit. So what happened? So you went there to help out with medical supplies, and then.
Okay, so we went there to drop off some medical supplies and some anti-tear gas material. Because tear gassing Americans is a no-go as far as I'm concerned.
No.
Anyway, so my friend and I went down there, and he's a Second Amendment guy. He's all about his right to bear arms, and I'm fine with that. He offered to be my bodyguard, and given the number of death threats I've received since beginning to speak, I couldn't decline. I was like, look,
Sure.
man, I'd rather have you by my side and not need you than need you and not have you, you know?
Right.
Anyway, so we went down to Detroit and we joined the march. We joined the protest with them
Sure.
through downtown, through the east side. And I noticed that the curfew in Detroit was 8 p.m. I noticed at about 7:30 that the police escort had taken us too far into town to get us back to the meetup spot before curfew ended.
Okay.
And I kind of, like, a little switch in my brain flipped. I said, something isn't right about this.
Right. So this is the police escort. You saying the police were escorting you guys? Okay.
Yep. And like I said, they took us too far into town to get us back before the 8 p.m. curfew set in. And 7:50 p.m., James Craig and the police department are out taking pictures with us. And at 8:01, they're dropping tear gas and rubber bullets at us.
Wait a minute. Hold on. So you're saying the police were out. First of all, they're escorting you. Then they start taking basically pictures, as we've seen all over, where they're taking these pictures, these photo ops. They're kneeling. They're doing all this stuff.
Appearance and optics. We call that appearances and optics.
Yes. So they do that with you all, and then right after curfew, even though they're escorting you far enough to where it would take some time to get back to where you have to get past 8 o'clock. So so once 8:01 came is when they started doing the tear gas.
It was game over. It was open season on us.
Wow.
It was absolutely open season.
So we have a mirror here. She said it was a setup. It was a setup.
Yeah. They did. They set us up, and I knew that at about 7:30. And luckily, my mom, who is super awesome, was also down in Detroit.
Oh, that's cool.
And she kept a close, like, she's a Lyft driver, so she stayed close to the protest, and she was able to snatch us up before it got ugly for us.
Wow.
Yeah. Detroit was wild. I don't recommend anybody who's not from the city, like, if you live in Southfield, stay out of Detroit right
well
now.
You know, people, when they live in Southfield, they say they live in Detroit, and it's a difference for sure. Yeah. So sure. Wow, that's, I mean, you know what, I would say I'm surprised, but that would be a lie. I'm not surprised that happened. I
wasn't surprised,
but it's just I don't know. It's just so much to know that, you know, these are the people that we're supposed to go to for help, but then they kind of entrap you into other situations. So
yeah, and they arrested my bodyguard, took his AR-15 and his Glock 9 and his American flag.
So was he using it?
Nope.
He was just holding it, like we've seen, I mean, for what, weeks now, a month now, people walking around with their guns, you know, brandishing them.
Matter of fact, the young man that was featured in the Detroit Free Press 2 days ago, that's my bodyguard. His name is Taylor. He's actually featured in a bunch of the pictures from that protest.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So it's like, you guys know we're peaceful here. We're here for our own protection, and you snatch him up.
Right.
It was crazy, though. They detained him, arrested him that night, detained him, let him go about 2 hours later. I was in a full panic because I'd lost him.
Right.
I ended up getting back to Madison Heights to my mom's hotel, and I was going to hang out with her for the evening. And finally he got a hold of me, but they took his weapons and his American flag. The next morning, we get down to the 3rd precinct to retrieve his stuff, and they have everything except his American flag.
So they gave him his gun back.
They gave him his gun back. They didn't give him his flag back.
Give him his flag back. Wow. So that's wild.
Right. It's a lot to digest.
That's definitely why. I'm not, like I said, I'm not. Oh yeah. But I'm not surprised. But so even after, you know, kind of enduring that, you still decided to continue with the protest.
Like, this isn't going to be something that's easily finished. This is going to be something that takes every fiber of our beings to complete.
Yeah.
We're talking about burying racism.
Right.
Racism is so American that when you protest racism, people think you're protesting America.
Yes.
It's as American as apple pie, unfortunately.
Right. Right.
And I firmly believe my generation will put it to bed. I
Yeah.
I I believe that we have the power, the capability. There's going to be some small pockets that are still going to try to be resilient.
Sure. Of course.
But
Yeah.
but any dying animal screams out right before it dies.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
So I like to look at it from that point of view. That
Right.
this last little, I guess, hurrah
Mm-hmm.
for the KKK and American Nazis is its death cry. I'm hoping that I'm hopeful that it is.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm going to say, I mean, this has been really, excuse me, my allergies have been going crazy. It's really been really exciting to see so many young people involved. I mean, they are, I mean, in all kind of backgrounds. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I noticed that there's a lot of like kids involved in this movement, not just young adults, but
Right.
people under the age of 18. Like the future voters and citizens of this country want their voice heard, and
Right.
we're no longer asking. We're now demanding that the system change,
Right.
or we'll burn it down.
That's essentially the rhetoric right now, for sure.
And you know, I'm not going to sit here and advocate for a riot, but every single right we as Americans have, we have to thank a riot for.
Yes.
Every single one.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't in good conscience not condone it, because if you want change, there's only a couple ways that they're going to listen.
Oh yeah.
I myself prefer the disrupt commerce
Yes.
ideology, because when they stop listening to our voices, they start listening to their wallets.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
And if you start shrinking their wallets, they start listening and start granting us a seat at the negotiating table.
Right.
And I think the general consensus, and I can't speak for the rest of this movement. I can only speak for my part in it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the heart of this movement isn't just stop killing us. It's
Right.
we deserve equality, not just in the streets, but we deserve equality in our government. We deserve equality in our colleges. We deserve equality in our education, period. We deserve equality in the workforce. I can't tell you how many times I've worked for a boss who wouldn't hire a black person because of a name.
Oh yeah.
I can't tell you how many times. And it doesn't matter if they are the most qualified person that has walked through the door in 10 years. That resume is now going on the bottom of the pile. And that's not fair. And equality needs to happen in every institution. And again, I can't speak for myself, but I'm an old school rebel. If they're not going to listen to us demand it on the street corner, bet I'll spend my money elsewhere.
And we should be doing it anyway. But go ahead. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I implore everyone to start shopping at businesses owned by people of color, not just black businesses. Go to an Indian restaurant. Go have sushi. Go get to know somebody unlike yourself. Because that's where honesty and equality sit at the same table.
Yeah.
And I think we as Americans especially, but us as a global society in 2020 need to do that. For far too long, we wanted equality, right? And then it was separate but equal. And a lot of people still live by the separate but equal kind of rules, even though in a global society, separate but equal does not work.
Right.
We all need a seat at the same table.
Yeah. Or create your own table.
Or create your own table.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of that, and it's not always popular. Ooh, that's a big bug. It's not always popular with everybody, but I think it's real, and that's not that's not just a black and white thing. That's a classism thing. I mean, it's like, hey, if this person doesn't accept you, or why do I need to beg you to see value in me when I see value in myself?
Absolutely.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like,
Absolutely.
if you won't invite me to your table, I'm okay with that, because I'm going to create my own. And I think a lot of people are doing that right now. I think a lot of people are creating their own tables, which is scary for people. And I think that's where a lot of this outrage and fear turned rage is coming from. I really think it's fear. I
I,
really
I,
do.
I believe it is fear.
Yeah, I
It is
really do. So yeah, so I want to tell you, I want to ask you, so what's your next step? So I mean, I know you've been protesting every day,
I
what's
have.
what do you think the next steps are? Because I was talking to a lady that I met at the protest. She's actually, I think, on the I think city council. I think that's what
City
she told me.
commissioner, I know who you're talking about. She's a city
Yes,
commissioner.
yes. So I
She's
spoke with
been to
her.
two of our events.
Okay, yeah, and I know she has a daughter that is mixed race, so that's one reason
Yep.
why she felt prompted to go and to support. But I spoke with her, and I actually followed up with her the next day because she was supposed to be talking to the police chief and sitting down
Yes.
with him. So I asked her, because she kind of asked me, "What do you think we should do?" I said, I need more specifics from them, because a lot of times, I mean, if you've noticed over the past couple of days, when police officers have been on their podiums speaking about, to this event and what's going on in the world today, they say, well, we're going to have policy change. That's been what they've said. Policy change, policy change. I need more specifics on that. I need to know, what does that look like? You know what I mean? Because
What does policy change mean in the long term?
yeah, because that could be anything. Yeah, go ahead.
For me, and again, I can't speak for anybody outside of myself.
Sure,
I won't.
sure.
For me, the things that I want to see, I want to see the police demilitarized.
Yes.
In Saginaw County, we have a tank.
Hmm.
We have several armored vehicles. Like,
Right.
I'm sorry, no police force in America needs a tank.
Right.
And if you don't know why, go look up Greenwood, Oklahoma.
Right. Right.
No American police force needs to be armed to the teeth.
Sure.
You're not fighting a war. And
Right.
and just for me to clarify, I also think war is abhorrent. You can't bring peace by killing people. It doesn't work. Never once in humanity has that actually worked. All you've done is make people submit and basically become a slave.
Sure.
I want to see the police demilitarized. I don't want them defunded. There's been a lot of argument back and forth between the difference. Sure. I defunded. You can have your funding. Get your AR-15 out of my neck.
Yeah. Give me, William, I'm going to pause you one quick second.
Okay.
I'm going to have Sister Io. I told you I would have her on. She's going to come in. I'm going to add her in quickly.
Okey-doke.
Hey, Sister Io.
Hi, good evening. How y'all doing?
Good. This is perfect timing for you to come on right now, because we're speaking about what's the next steps for the police officers, right? What's the next steps for? Because I was just saying to William, that every time I hear a police officer on a forum right now, when they're being interviewed or at some kind of town hall meeting regarding what's going on right now, they keep saying that we're going to have police, policy changes, or, police reform. We use that very broadly. So I'm asking, we need to be more specific in what we're asking for, and not just saying policy change, because that could be anything. Policy change could be anything. So, William, I'm going to let you finish your thought on that. And then, Sister Io, I would like you to kind of weigh in too, to say, what do you think some next steps should be?
One of the things I think is important to address, and I don't exactly know how to fix this, but I know it needs to be addressed, is it takes a lawyer 8 years of school and the bar exam to become a lawyer. But a police officer has 6 months in the academy and then a year on the beat, and then can ride by himself.
Right.
That's not enough time to actually learn the law. the law that you're supposed to enforce.
Right.
And I think a longer vetting process and a longer education process for our officers is far past due.
Yeah.
I believe that the academy has not trained them incorrectly, but not trained them.
Okay.
When I say that,
I don't think they've trained them correctly. In my opinion, and we can.
And it comes down to not being trained correctly. They're not taught de-escalation tactics. They're not taught how to deal with someone with autism. They're not taught. They're taught how to dodge a bullet if you get shot.
Right.
Which is good training. Don't get me wrong, but you're gonna get shot at a whole lot less than you're gonna deal with somebody with with a different circumstance.
Right.
And I think they spend too much training on that rather than training on how to deal with people and how to de-escalate a situation. We had a guy here in Saginaw, and I'm sure you ladies remember this, Milton Hall.
Oh yeah.
That's a name that has been burned into the brain of every mid-Michigander for the last 8 years. And I was reminded that today it was 8 years. And that just blows my mind that happened 8 years ago. Yeah. But if you know the story of Mr. Hall, he was an autistic man who everybody in this community knew. Because he wasn't a beggar. He would, can I wash your windows for $1? Will you buy me a sandwich? I'm hungry. And they put 47 bullets in that man for holding a plastic knife like you get at Wendy's.
Right.
And to no end, I can't process how many ways that situation could have gone different. If somebody,
for sure.
If somebody had just said, stop, let's talk to the man, put our weapons down. He's terrified. Yeah. Well, we use intimidation more as a tactic than anything else. And that is important in America, and that needs to end.
So William, because I hear what you're saying, and so my argument has been that just because, so I love cop shows, right? So I watch cop shows all the time because I find them very interesting, right? So I have watched many episodes, and in doing that, I have seen, and this is going to your point about them not knowing how to de-escalate, right? So I remember one episode I was watching with my husband, and it was this white guy, like, burly, big, brandishing a weapon at the cops, screaming, yelling, running towards them, which we saw, what was that, last year? I think we saw that, another one on video where there was a, white gentleman running towards the cops. And they were, in all of those situations that I've seen, when I watch these shows, they have been able to get control of the situation, okay? Exactly. With a person running at them with a weapon that was clearly enraged, okay? So Absolutely. My question has always been, I do believe they need more training. I do believe they need to learn more about de-escalation, but I've also seen them be able to de-escalate many of situations Absolutely. When it is a person that is Caucasian. And I've seen
Dylan Roof.
Yeah.
Guy kills 9 people in a church and they get him Burger King.
Yeah. I saw a picture the other day of a guy they had sitting on the ground with handcuffs, and they were helping him drink water. They were making sure he was not thirsty. I'm just like, oh, how kind.
Absolutely.
Right. That's why this, in my opinion, Black and brown people have consistently over history not been seen or treated as human beings, and there hasn't really been a necessity to treat one another, for them to treat us as human beings. That's what I'm trying to say. And so the bottom is really around being able to see the humanity in the person who you're interacting with. And I believe that as it relates to police departments, really for us in Minnesota, Minneapolis, it's the police union that is the problem. We have an amazing police chief, Madaria Arredondo, first African-American police chief in the city of Minneapolis. He's and he's
yeah, that's
really,
nice.
like, we really do stand behind him. He has come in, but it just goes to show you, like, a Black police chief can't drive forth just like a Black can't drive towards change when it's really rooted in the institution. And so for us, it really is at the head of the police union that promotes violence against people.
Yeah.
He has really said handle the blood and the gore and the murder of people. Like, if you can't handle the killing and the blood and the gore, then you're in the wrong job.
Right.
To your police officers, that's an issue, and that demonstrates a lack of humanity. And I just want to say that, like, the de-escalation tactics are important, but if the person who you're interacting with, you don't even see them being on your level in terms of, then de-escalation is not a problem. That's why a man could commit a mass shooting, mass murder, and then still be offered water and offered food on the way.
Exactly.
Probably even without even being put in handcuffs. And
oh yeah,
it's a humanity issue.
No, that's true. That's true. I feel that because
Absolutely.
that is totally true, and I think that's goes back to something that I spoke to yesterday. I was just saying, when a person can't even relate to you, when a person doesn't even value you, when a person sees you as an animal. But what's so interesting, I don't even like saying that anymore, because I see more outrage over animals than I do our lives, so I'm like, wait a minute, I can't even say that
Go ahead
anymore.
and tell them, girl. Go ahead and tell them.
It's like, okay, so I don't know. It's just been very interesting, just to say the least. And I don't know. I mean, people keep saying, what's next? I really don't know, because again, I think more vetting, these cops,
Vetting process.
the psyche valves to make sure, because some of them have some deep rooted hate already going in. I've watched documentaries where people in the military, police officers and different people in those type of militarized states, they have said that they've gotten into these fields because they know the power they will have when getting into these positions, so you have people coming in seeking it to be able to do this stuff. So they love it. This is what they've been waiting for, so
right.
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm not sure any of us really know what the next step is. I don't want to be the one to say it, but I think the first step is we need to get Mr. Trump out of office in November as hard and as fast as we can.
Yeah.
I want his head to spin as he's walked out the door.
Yeah, for sure. Like, this is really, it's created the perfect recipe.
Yes, perfect storm. Yes.
And this is the thing, like, the Boogaloo Boys, the Proud Boys, all these groups, all like the white nationalist groups, they never stopped operating. They just went underground.
Yes.
Underground.
What is happening is that having Trump in office has allowed them a platform.
Giving them a voice.
To emerge. It's giving them a voice.
And giving them permission.
They were told that they were very fine people.
So when to Minneapolis, downtown Minneapolis, our Minneapolis mayor said there can be no Minneapolis police officers in the Trump rally representing Minneapolis police, because we do not want Trump here. He's not welcomed here. And so again, the police, the head of the police union, Kroll, had these like Cops for Trump shirts made, and you could see how many, just in Minnesota, how many police presented there with these Cops for Trump shirts on. And so that tells you a lot in terms of who our Trump supporters are, and then also in terms of who's teetering along the lines of being a police officer by day and then having some white nationalist ideology by night.
Right.
Also the same ones who are in the streets policing communities such as mine, and these, Minneapolis has been so riddled with police violence and police murders, assassinations of Black men and women in Minneapolis has been absolutely crazy. And so, yeah, I wanted to put that in there because it's such a disgrace and it's such a big problem. And then everything that's piled on top of it.
I know we had a pandemic.
Right, this whole year.
All at the exact same time has been really interesting to me. And so I've just been looking at all the complexities of
Yes.
what's happening in the world right now. And what does that mean for voting in November? Like, what does that really look like in November? Like in the city of Minneapolis, like programs and institutions are divesting from Minneapolis Police Department. Our city council has made forth a suggestion or a proposal, or they're thinking about possibly severing, like dismantling the whole Minneapolis Police Department.
I saw that.
I saw that tweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the community is like, okay, but then what? Because
What happens now?
right? Because I'm like, community policing, I'm down for that. Like, get your family down the street. I'm so down for that. And at the same time, we have to prepare for that. We can't just okay, tomorrow we're going to dismantle the police department and think that the community is going to be ready for that level of responsibility.
Exactly.
Transition of power is a hell of a thing.
Yes. Yes.
Really take to be able to do that when it relates to physical safety, the social emotional safety of people. Like, there's a lot that goes into being able to do that. So it's like, okay, if we're going to do this, then what resources are going to be funneled into the community, getting in the right community members' hands to ensure that we really can do what we say we want to do, but we
right.
have the opportunity to do it at a much broader scale.
Right, because it sounds good and it can look good, but like you said, you know how are we going to do it? Because everybody cannot handle responsibility. I mean, I don't care, who they are. It's funny because I was telling a lady yesterday. So me growing up, so we lived in mostly an all Black community, right? So, but we had an officer that lived on our street. He literally lived 3 doors down from my house, right? And his name was Dave. Dave, you would see Dave at the McDonald's eating breakfast every morning with a group of guys in his police uniform. You would see him on the basketball court playing basketball with the kids. Everybody
Dave
knew
was a member of the community.
Yes, he was Big Dave. He was Big Dave, right? We knew he was a cop, but nobody feared him. Nobody felt intimidated when he came around. And it was so interesting when he dealt with people. Everybody was like, "What's up, Dave?" And if he saw somebody acting up, he would be like your uncle or your daddy, like, "Man, get over there, And if he had to deal with somebody at criminal level, he still knew how to interact with them because he knew them. He saw them every day. He saw their struggles. He saw what they went through. He connected with them. So I've never been like I was never like just well, I have to find that balance, right? Because I'm not necessarily pro-police, but I've never been just anti-police, because my remembrance of Dave when I was younger was he was a part of our community. He never abused that power, quote unquote, that he was given, right?
He respected the uniform and the responsibility that came with it.
Yeah, and he treated us.
And it's really about being a part of the community. That part right is so important, because there is a line where it does the racial background and ethnic makeup, it doesn't matter to an extent when you are really in the community. And so when we have police coming from an hour's drive away,
yes,
community that they are afraid of, we encounter officers that are afraid of us. We can't ask a simple question like, "Hey, officer, what's going on?" without getting a gun drawn on us from their fear. And so they're not embedded in the community, just like our teachers are not embedded in the community. But
that's a whole nother. We can get on that.
I just wanted to add that a politician can't hold office in a town that he doesn't live in, right? You can't be the mayor of a city you don't live in. I don't think cops should be allowed to police a town they don't live in.
Yeah.
And so
I agree.
The conversation, that's so on point. The conversation that we've been having here for a long time, I think, it's just been talk, but I think people are really ready to put some action and some dollars behind it. It's been grow your own. We have
we were talking about that.
Man, my son, he's 9.5. He'll be 10 in a couple months. But at one point in time, he wanted to be a police officer. And then the killing of Jamar Clark happened. And when we had an opportunity to meet an African-American police officer, and I'm like, oh, honey, let's go talk to him. Let's ask him what it's like to be a police officer. He's like, I don't want to be a police officer. Like, no, that right there just totally crushed his dreams. So we had
name one boy who doesn't want to be a police officer at some point in their life.
Police officers doing to the community, but we need to keep those dreams intact for our young boys and girls who are interested in going into law enforcement. We need a fund to support them to get through the academy and to funnel into the police departments that are in their community. In North Minneapolis, we do have a few that are like born and bred in the community who work here, and dealing with them versus dealing with like Officer Chauvin, it's like night and day. It's like
so I have a question to that, because I understand that, and I've supported that as well, because I believe anybody, whatever your dreams are, I believe you could be successful at it. But my question is always, even with politicians, even with preachers, even with, a lot of times people can get into these positions with great intent, and then the system of it, right? The mindset of it corrupts them. And that's always my fear, is that, and that's why I have so much hesitation with that now, is because once you get into it, it's such a loyalty. The oath that you take that we think is supposed to be an oath to protect us, it's almost an oath that they take to protect each other, right? So that's my fear, is that once they get
What's that phrase, back to the thin blue line?
Yeah.
We need to replace the thin blue line with the thin red, white, and blue line. You're Americans. Act like it.
No, that is a true concern, and we see that with our officers who go in. I mean, like, I think 2 of the officers that were involved in the assassination of George Floyd were officers, right? And the officer that put the knee in the neck was like the training officer. And
right.
That is mind-boggling.
Right? But when I say grow your own, I'm like, we have to have a community mindset.
Yes.
This is a long term. This ain't just like no 2 or 3 year turnaround. This is
a
long-term plan.
Right. We're looking at decades of work ahead of us.
Yes.
And the system that they're going into, and that the responsibility is not only in terms of how they interact with people in the community, but their responsibility is as also changing the culture of the police department that they're in, and that is a heavy task.
Yeah,
that is a huge task.
It is.
But it's both. It's both and. You're not just gonna walk up in this space and become one of the boys. We can't afford that. When you walk in, you will know what you're walking into. You will understand the mindset that you're walking into. And you will have some tools and some community support. But this takes a high level of organizing. It's not ideal situation that never happened.
And it may.
Philosophy, that's what needs to happen. This is a long-term game. And I'm like, the police union is voted in. So once, because everybody's like, push him out. But I'm like, look who voted him in.
Right.
The person who voted for him is going to take his spot, and it's going to recycle itself all over.
Yes.
So that is not a solution.
Yes.
You got to take that spoke out of the wheel and fix the wheel.
Yes. Very true. Brother William, I want to tell you, thank you so much for being on here. I really appreciate it. Yeah, taking the time to come on and just talk to me and us about, just your passion. And Sister Io, I don't know if you're aware, but he's a guitarist by trade, professional guitarist, and, kind of got, I guess, pushed into the movement by his own doing, by his inner rage. Sometimes you get called to things. I mean, sometimes people are just called to things, and it's very.
You don't choose it; it chooses you.
It's really
that's it. I answered a call and rose to the occasion, and that's all.
And you should see him. He was jumping on things and doing all kind of. I mean, it was just but it was so powerful to see the energy behind when he said things, and the people that were supporting him, and just. I don't know, the energy was just very high. So I really appreciate that. Brother William, I'm going to let you go. I want to talk to Sister Io a little bit about, and you're welcome to stay on if you like, or if you have something to do. But
I do have to get going.
Yeah, I know you said you had to leave about 9:45, so this is right on time. So again, thank you so much. I appreciate it, and yeah, we'll stay in touch.
To your viewers, I want to leave you with one thing.
Oh, please do.
Be unapologetic.
Yeah.
It's your city. It's your streets. Take them back. Be
Yes.
unapologetic.
Yes. Word. All right. All right. Well, continue on with that
Absolutely.
work. I appreciate anybody that puts themselves out there because it's not easy. So continue doing that, and
I will.
have a good evening, Brother William.
Y'all have a good one.
All right, you too. Take care.
Bye now.
Bye-bye. Peace.
Okay, Sister Ayo, I just wanted to kind of talk to you to just do a follow-up because I know the last time you and I talked on here,
Oh yeah.
you know, it was all hell was breaking loose outside on your streets, you know. So I just kind of wanted to follow up with you to see what the climate is right now there, you know, what's going on, how are people feeling, are people still feeling kind of motivated? You know, oftentimes with things like this, we come in real high, right, because we're emotionally charged, we come in real high and then it kind of seems to die off. But with this one, it seems a little different. People seem to really still be charged up. So I just wanted to kind of, and you're there, so I don't want to speak for a place. You know, I think a lot of people are talking for Minneapolis and nobody is we're not there. So I want you to tell me, kind of tell the viewers again, kind of what was happening, and then we'll talk about what it's like now. What was happening at that time? Mm-hmm.
So, you know, everything in Minneapolis sparked off I believe it was Tuesday when we got the news of what had happened, like early Tuesday morning.
Mm-hmm.
That when everyone got the news of what happened with George Floyd. And so that's when everything just erupted. And when I say everything erupted, people were marching in the streets, we were protesting. There was a lot of community activity happening. And that's an interracial, intergenerational
Yes.
outcry, right?
Yes.
Later that first night, the area in South Minneapolis where this happened at started going up in flames. No, excuse me, let me rephrase that. There was a protest and a rally that happened at the location of the death.
Okay.
Right? So people in the rally decided that they were going to march to the third precinct.
Okay.
Precinct, which is where these officers were from.
Okay.
Everything got out of hand. That's when the riots were being enticed. Things begin to go up in flames. Stretches of miles of businesses are burnt down.
I mean, miles. Wow. Wow.
And so the street burned for about 3 or 4 nights. There was thousands and thousands and thousands of people. There were so many people there. The fire trucks couldn't even get in. And so they had to let these buildings burn. And it was at about night 2 or night 3 where it became very clear that these are not the African-American people who are enticing these riots and burning things up. I remember reading a feed where it had said that the gas lines had been cut to the third precinct. And so eventually this mob, and I'm literally calling it a mob of people, this mob of people penetrated the third precinct and set it ablaze. And there's footage of police running out of the third precinct.
Really?
Third precinct. So things a couple of nights after that, they made their way to the 5th precinct, which is also the other South Minneapolis police precinct, and they began to set that on fire as well. And then they came to my community, which is in North Minneapolis, and set things afire, and there was looting, a lot of other things happening. It became very clear at some point, and I asked my husband this morning, when did we know that these were like white nationalists in our community and not just young agitators? At some point, we discovered that these were white nationalists with a hidden agenda, posing as protesters and posing as allies, but coming into the community at dark and setting Black-owned businesses on fire, setting other businesses on fire, and really being very confrontational with residents who were walking down the street alone. And
Oh,
so,
you mean kind of starting confrontations?
Jumping out, beating people up, shooting,
Oh,
the whole thing.
oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, it got really crazy. So from there, people were thinking, oh my God, I have to protect my community. The police are not here. We have no access to 911. You call 911, the phone rings, or it's just a busy signal. And
Oh
so,
my goodness.
so people literally started arming up, going out on the block to protect our Black owned businesses, and ended up in confrontation with the people who had come into our community. So we were seeing license plates from all over the United States.
Oh, that's what I wanted to, and I'm glad you pointed that out because that's been some of my topics of conversation with people when they keep asking me, and especially, white people that keep asking me, well, why would they, burn down their own, that's just so, almost like just animals, like you just these animals out here doing, and I continually say a lot of the people that were there weren't even from the area. They weren't even black, so but people have stuck with that and keep saying, well, those are the people that are doing it. They're burning down their, look at these animals. And it's just not the case.
Yes, and you are absolutely correct. And I also forgot to mention how South Minneapolis and our twin city, St. Paul, are connected by a bridge over the Mississippi River. And it traveled across the bridge over into St. Paul as well. And so a whole complex of businesses in St. Paul have been burnt down. And so,
wow.
so you look on camera, you will see that we are not inciting the riots and the burning. Many of us have participated in looting. That's just real. A lot of young people, there's a lot of high school students out there doing some snatching. But there are videos of white kids. I literally sat and saw white kids raiding an auto store. They were just walking in, just taking stuff, popping it in the trunk. And so that has really been the narrative, is that the young, like high school, young adult white kids have really incited a lot of what was going on. And we, African American people, jumped in like, oh, okay, that's what we on. All right,
but think about it. I mean, and when I say things, it's not giving excuses. It's just being real, right? Being transparent. We are in the middle of a pandemic. There are people that have been out of work since March, and I mean, may not be getting that much money. They have, bills to pay. Some people are really hurting, So hey, they look at it like they already busted the window open. They already went in there and started taking stuff. I'm gonna take some stuff too. Again, I'm not saying it's right, but I'm just speaking to the realness of it.
It's not right. Yeah. And so, I mean, I've seen people like break into the ATM machine, money flying all over the place. Like, yeah, I mean, it's just like,
oh my goodness. It just seemed like something out of a movie,
I hope somebody makes a movie about this, and I hope they do it.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because when I tell you, like, some of the things that we have seen has been so mind blowing. I haven't even processed everything that we have seen. I can say as an update that things have died down. Yesterday, first memorial for George Floyd.
Yeah.
Community members have some feels about the celebrities being in town. It's like, okay, so what y'all really gonna do?
Well, and I have my own thoughts on that. I mean, I think it's cute or whatever, and people reach out to celebrities because they feel like they have a platform, which they do. But a lot of them, especially some of our black representatives, they are just they take photo ops too, and so all of that's not real. I love personally. I prefer people that's in those neighborhoods, that's already grassroots, that's on, boots on the ground. I prefer them to be the ones speaking. All these people they ship in to say these grandiose, speeches.
I'm like, if you're about a photo, like you really can't be about a photo op and be about a revolution at the same time.
It's just no.
That's my own personal opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
We've seen some tension amongst the local organizations who are having to jump in front of the camera and have to be the one talking, and it's just creating tension in organizations. And so we're seeing some internal struggle as it relates to managing what it looks like to rebuild, what it looks like to manage the stability and the protection of the community, and then to also manage the presence in front of the camera and what we're representing. There are people that are saying, like, these are not white people in our community. These are Black people doing this in our community. And it's just a flat out lie. Now, let me say this. The community in North Minneapolis has already, on a day-to-day basis, experienced a disproportionate amount of gun violence.
Okay.
Already. So we are starting to see some of the local gun violence. It seems like it's starting to kind of bubble back up. That's what it seems like. Just like a little.
Right.
But at the same time, those are also the people who are on the block protecting the block from the Boogaloo Boys and whoever else then came into Minnesota to start trouble with Black folks. So it's a both and issue, which we have to fight on a daily basis, which is the white bodied supremacist mindset that just messes everything up. If you have
and which is literally outside your door. Yeah, it's literally outside your door, literally.
And so it's a flip side to the same coin that I think people don't really talk about. Is like the same reason why we are fighting against white-bodied supremacy is the exact same reason why we have imploded on ourselves in under-resourced communities. It's the flip side of the same coin, and we're really fighting the same thing in terms of the root cause at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you that real quick, because you basically have worked for a non-gun violence.
Yes.
Correct, right? A nonprofit, is it a nonprofit, right? So, so how did you feel when, I mean, because this is real, right? This is like real life, because it's a lot of stuff that we feel like, and this is not any dig towards you. I'm just saying, just in general, where we're like, yes, this is right, or this is wrong, and rah, rah, rah. And then when the shit hits the fan, it's like, whoa. I mean, how did you feel when you had literal enemies outside walking up and down your streets? I mean, I don't think really a lot of people understand what you witness. You have people infiltrating into your communities and walking up and down your streets with guns and with different, motives. How did you feel when someone said, okay, let me get my gun and protect the streets? I mean, when that's been your fight against that, so to speak.
I was like, look, we got to do what we do. So arm up, strap up, heat up, pack the burn. We have to do. And I also told my the director of the organization, I'm the program director.
Okay.
Director, I said, I'm just going to let you know what's happening right now. There's a bigger, broader conversation to be had in the gun violence prevention world as it to Black gun owners. Because when we talk about Black communities and guns, it's always put the guns down, put the guns down, put the guns down. There's never really a conversation with gun violence prevention organizations around safe storage of your guns, around making sure that your family and your children are safe around the guns that you have. And so we have Black people could put the guns down, white people store your guns safely, make sure that your children don't have access to your guns.
And know the laws of the guns, and yes.
So I had a conversation
for carrying the guns, I should say. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had a conversation with the organization. I won't name them, but I did have a conversation with the organization, and I suggested that we reach out to our networks and we begin to do a fundraising campaign that will support people who have guns, because we've had an influx. We've already had a lot of guns in the community. Don't nobody know where the guns came from. We have even more. So we got all these guns in the community now. How are we going to keep our children safe? Because I guarantee you, if we don't jump on this right now, the accidental deaths that are going to be happening in these homes, the teens that are going to have access to guns, and when they have some beef with somebody on the block, they're going to go get whatever they seen hiding in their parents' closet. That number is going to go up. And so
which is true.
It's going to go up. And it has to. It has to go up. That's just right. So I'm like, so what we need to do is we need to support the people who have had to arm up and the people who are already armed up, and making sure that they have a family safety plan as it relates to their guns, that we're not just telling them store your guns safely, but we're supporting them in getting the safe storage of their guns. We're not just saying store your guns safely. We're actually having classes and workshops so that people know how to do it. Like, how do you
being a resource? Yeah, be that resource. I mean, because this has always been my thought, Sister Ayo. Like, I understand, because I do believe in gun safety. I do believe in gun responsibility. But I also know that I've seen with my own eyes, I've seen, people who live out in the middle of nowhere, doing gun training amongst themselves with their family. They have up different, targets. And I mean, and they've been doing that with their children since day one. Okay. And they are firm believers, as we have seen in the news over the past month or so, in carrying them and brandishing them. Okay. And don't have a problem using them because, of course, they know that the likeliness of them being actually having any real time, you know, with using the gun, they know is very low, right? So when you have that, I believe that for us, we have to be able to, you have to be able to protect yourself. I mean, even when this whole pandemic started, right? Me and my husband talked about it. It's like, we have to be able to protect our home. And that's not even necessarily just with guns, just, locking your doors, making sure, you're being aware when you're coming in and out of your car, going into your house, and we were trying to tell our children, that you may not understand it, but when people start getting hungry, when people start getting upset, when they don't have different resources, they will find it somewhere and they will get it some way. So we have to learn how to protect ourselves in a responsible way.
Yes, those protective factors are extremely important. And I think that, we teach Black children to be afraid of guns. I think that this is, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I see how certain things are put, like, cause and effect kind of thing. Like, if we teach them to be afraid of guns, then they'll never think about picking one up from a legal standpoint, right? So they're so afraid of the gun, they think that they have to get the gun, and then they get the gun and it's a secret, and then they have a mishap, or they think that the only power that they could possibly have lies in the gun, and then they go get someone.
Yeah.
And we've just been talking to people who have their conceal and carry, they have all their licensure and permits in place, and how much they really hold that close and protect that. So in the state of Minnesota, I think a child can be, and I don't know if this is state law or federal law, but a child can be 10 years old and take their first firearms class. And Black 10-year-old children do we see in these state classes that are like led by the state. And I know it's a radical so many because Black people are taught to be afraid of guns because have another Black Panther party. Like we can't have Black people with guns who are legalized to carry guns. Like, why would we do that? That's what they think, right? But
well, that's what that is. That's what happened. That's what happened. They shut that down.
They shut it down. Everything in their power to shut it down. But I'm like, myself in my house, we've taught our children, carrying a gun is not a good thing. This is what can happen, blah, blah, blah. And so it's like, even now in my own family, we are having a different conversation than what we've had before. And I know there are so many families like that where it's like, dang, like we were protected. Well, we thought we had some level of protection over our families. And we realized that we don't.
That you were so vulnerable,
that we were vulnerable, so vulnerable. And that's what it does when we teach our children that guns are bad and all the other things, like even the nonviolence piece. It neutralizes our ability to be forward thinking in terms of defending ourselves. And you have to understand the different layers of defending yourselves. A gun is the very last thing that you would go to. First, you develop the mind, right?
Right.
And tactical training and weapons and all that comes into play later. But we've been so neutralized as a Black community around the issue of guns that it's become a huge problem. And that's what we've seen in our community for those who have opted out of keeping a firearm in the home.
Right. No, I agree. And that conversation needs to be had across the board. It's a lot of things that we see as like taboo or wrong that we don't ever talk about because it's just don't do it. We need to have more conversations with our children, with each other, to be just aware of things because the world is changing. And we have to be able to survive in it. And I mean, just even, to growing your own food or, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we have to learn how to use some of these resources a little bit better for ourselves because people saw it where even going to the grocery store, they couldn't find yeast or they couldn't find this, and it was mind boggling because that's never happened. You've never gone there and it just not be there and have no time frame of when it's coming back. You know what I mean? So we have to look more into a little bit more self-preservation. So, but I appreciate you for coming on here, Sister Ayo. I wanted to just kind of follow up with you to see, where it was, where your city was kind of at right now, because I know the last time we talked a couple weeks ago, it was all hell was breaking loose. I mean, literally. And I mean, the idea that you go outside your home and you actually see, white nationalists walking up and down the street. I mean, it's just mind boggling that they feel like they can and they have the audacity to do that, and they feel like they have the power to do it. Is just mind boggling to me. But so I'm glad that, go ahead. You had something. What were you about to say?
No, I'm just thank you for giving a platform, to Minneapolis to really talk about what's happening, because there's not enough coverage about what's really happening.
What's really happening, right?
Or like the police would not representing us in the community and what we're dealing with, and then the National Guard. I mean, there's so many layers. There are so many layers. I think we could talk about this for days and still have more.
Oh, I'm sure. So really quick, how did you talk to your children about this? Because I'm sure that was, it can be traumatic. I mean, they look out and see, and I'm sure you guys were kind of like on edge because of everything going on. How did you guys kind of help deal with the children in regards to that?
We first we kept it away from them, and we were like, wow, we're in North Minneapolis, like this is the safest place in the city to be, right? And then boom, it hit North Minneapolis really hard. And so I was like, wow, I can't keep this away from them anymore, because as soon as we turn on our block, they're going to see buildings have burned. And so I let them know that, there's some things that are happening in the city right now, and it's all based on a bad cop and his interactions with an African-American man. And he hurt him really, really bad. And because of that, and I was telling you, because we are strong people, we are standing up for that man who transitioned into being an ancestor, that we are giving him voice, and that we are protesting what it is that happens. What does it mean to protest?
Right.
Up and to use your voice when something bad happened, when something wrong happened, or when you don't believe in, that you use your voice that really hurt that person or hurt you, to let them know that you didn't like that and that you expect them to do something different. So we have conversations. We talk about it. I have a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old, and they have lots of questions. My 9-year-old is the homeschooled one outside of this. So he's
yeah.
he got questions, but he can also put things into perspective. But just really understanding, like, yeah, something bad did happen, and look at all of these thousands of people who are here to make this world a better place for us. Like, know that this didn't just happen because you Black, because we have to stop with the children. But something happened to this man because something was wrong with that police officer. He was the one with mental illness called racism. And so all these thousands of people are rallying to say people who have that mental illness of racism can't be police officers because they hurt people like me. And continue to just process that and have this conversation with our children. They see us gearing up. They kind of like know, but they really don't know.
Yeah.
Have to have a deeper conversation with them in terms of some of the underground things that our family has been doing. Just make sure that our community is safe.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Everything. They see and they know everything.
That's good.
My 9-year-old is an empathic child, so he knows he's very intuitive, so he knows.
You can feel it. Yeah.
So.
But I'm really happy to hear that you're helping them change the narrative. Like you said, instead of just saying because you're Black, because that then again puts the shifts the blame onto you, as a Black person, like it's your fault for being Black that something happened. And no, it's their problem, not yours. But their problem does impact you. So let me teach you how to deal with that. So that's really good. So again, thank you, Sister Ayo, for coming on. We'll catch back up. I wish you a great evening, and I wish you peace.
You too. Peace. I'll see you soon.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, I thank Brother William and Sister Ayo for coming on tonight. It really was a great conversation. I really appreciate that. Everything, people don't have to always necessarily, agree on every level of it. And that's what I always try to say, is that we have to see where our common ground is. We have to see what we agree on, what we believe in, what connects us, and then build from there. It's all about building. It's not about tearing down. So again, I appreciate you guys, and I definitely wish you guys a great evening, and I wish you peace. Thanks again so much.